Georgia and Texas, they go to overtime. The Bulldogs are your SEC champions. The stories are just packed on both sides of this. You've got Carson Beck goes out with an injury late in the first half. Gunnar Stockton comes in, and all of a sudden that Bulldogs offense has some juice. You've got a Texas team that was plagued by these same issues that have just been kind of lingering around for each of the last two seasons, because the inability to score touchdowns with scoring opportunities left enough points on the board so that even though Georgia got off to a slow start, Georgia was able to climb back into the game very quickly, take control of it in the second half. Credit the Longhorns for being able to get back in it. But man, I see this as a lot more discipline. I mean, jubilation for Georgia, because you've got all your SEC championship had a losing record. That building is the same place where you got beat in the national championship game by Alabama. Like when things weren't going your way early and the offense couldn't do a damn thing, I'm sure it felt awful for what was estimated to be an 80% Georgia crowd in Atlanta. But if you're Texas, you got to be really, really bummed out by the missed opportunities here.
I mean, they had a 70% drive success rate, but only a 9% touchdown rate. That's kind of your ball game. Texas moved the ball, and I actually think Texas lost this in the first 20 minutes.
With all those opportunities, where it was field goal, missed field goal. If that was touchdown, game's over.
Do you think you're going to move it on Georgia the entire time? Or do you think Georgia's going to make some adjustments? Because when Bama got when Bama got one up on Georgia, they cashed it in with touchdowns early on. And then Kirby Smart and those guys made some adjustments. And Texas did not score those touchdowns. So then, you know what Georgia did? They made adjustments to what Texas was doing, which, again, I want to go back and see exactly how, what they changed up. Maybe they changed up some of their reactions to the motion stuff. But that was your chance to win the ball game, Texas. And you had drives of 48, 64, 56, and 51, and you had 6 points. That's kind of your ball game right there. I mean, there's more to it, and we will definitely get into it. But that's kind of your ball game right there.
Yeah, before the game, Nick Saban said, when he was talking about Sark, and he said with Steve Sarkisian, if his offense stays ahead of schedule, stays ahead of the sticks, he is an incredible play caller, and there's absolutely nothing you can do. He said the only way you can slow down a Sark team is to get him behind the sticks. Guess who had 15 tackles for loss?
Georgia.
Yeah. So they would put together these drives, but then Georgia would get those tackles for loss. They would get them behind the sticks. And then there's the other thing in the red zone. Quinn Ewers just doesn't have the arm for it. The shorter the field gets, the fewer throws he can make. And then you're kind of limited in your play calls. And we saw it all night. Once they were inside the 30, it was either a screen pass or it was him lofting a fade ball to the back corner of the end zone, hoping his guy could go up there and get it. There is no ripping the ball up the seam or a slant or any of that kind of stuff, trying to get in the windows when Georgia's dropping back into zone coverage, which is all they're doing at that part of the field. I legit wonder why Texas didn't use Arch Manning more than they did in this game. I feel like once they got into the red zone, they should have leaned on him far more than they did, because I think that you've seen it all year to this point that once you get down there, Quinn doesn't have it. And I thought that's why they brought him in the Texas A&M game. I thought that was going to be a bigger part of their game plan. It wasn't, and they only ended up with 19 points, and they lost a game that was very winnable. So now, instead of having a first-round bye and being the 2 seed, they're going to get a home game, but it might not be an easy home game, and their path got a whole lot more difficult. And then, of course, there's the other side of this. How bad is Carson Beck hurt? Because Georgia escaped this one with Gunnar Stockton in the second half, but man, he was 12 of 16 for 71 yards, had a fumble, made a horrible throw. I mean, he looked like a kid who doesn't have any experience. He got thrown into the freaking SEC championship game. So I'm not holding that against him. It's just, if you have to go forward with him and Carson Beck is out for a lot of time, because the fact that that he's getting an MRI and that they are being so secretive about it leads me to believe it's not good.
So you don't think it's a hand injury like Kirby Smart said at halftime?
No, I don't think you get MRIs on your hand.
Upper extremity.
I don't think
hand bones connected to the.
I think if your hand is hurt, you could still raise your arm. Whereas if maybe you've torn your UCL, you can't.
The force with which he was throwing and with which he got hit, that's that. I was like, that's not a hand. I mean, maybe the hand is hurt too, but like that's not. When Kirby said it at halftime, and I know like he has no time to react to that, right? It just he's over there, he's looking down, he's got the rest of the team to coach too, and obviously get ready at the half, and if he has to play Stockton, got to go talk to him. But it did not seem like a hand injury. But I mean, Georgia's defense just they seem to play Texas pretty well, with the exception like Texas had a bunch of good drives and just could not cash it in. So that is to Georgia's credit, obviously. But if they meet again, it's like what is Texas really happening? We've now seen Georgia play, like 100 good minutes against Texas defense or against Texas offense, maybe 20 bad. Like they feel pretty good.
Georgia is an infuriating football team. It's like when they're good, they are so freaking good. It's just they're like the Chiefs this year, whereas like Kansas City's got one loss, and they've played like ass all season, but they just keep winning anyway. Georgia's kind of got a very similar thing going on. But fun little factoid: first game, Texas averaged 1.1 yards per carry on the ground. Tonight, Quintrevion Wisner, the run game's figured out. They're gonna go. Oh wait, 1.1 yards per attempt.
Ooh, 1-1.
Yeah.
Is that counting the sacks?
Yes. But even if you take the sacks out, it was 2.6.
They're still not great.
Yeah.
I mean, 19 for 51. ETN on the other side was 19 for 90 or 16 for 94.
Huge.
Yeah, and Wisner had like 15 on the one run. So
Georgia's out of the playoff, right? Because their quarterback got hurt.
No, they've got the auto berth.
I'm under the impression that if your quarterback gets hurt, you're not allowed to go to the playoff.
Well, they have an auto berth, but precedence shows that they will be dropped to a 12 seed.
Yeah, see, but the problem is that joke's been cooking. That joke's been cooking for 6.5 hours. You know that thing is falling off the bone right now. It's been slow roasted,
like Carson Beck's arm.
Yeah, I maintain
between that and the Belichick, you've been on fire.
Well, it's just like I maintain that maybe Georgia doesn't need an NFL prospect. You know, like you made the joke about the Scooby-Doo meme of it's just Stetson Bennett.
Yes.
But it's like let's stop asking our Georgia quarterbacks to do too much. Let's get our Georgia quarterbacks to just go out there and literally stick their head into a flying Andrew Makuba hit straight to the skull. I mean, if Gunnar Stockton takes the field for their quarterfinal matchup, I don't know if I'm changing my opinion of Georgia, because their strengths and weaknesses are just like they just go out there and figure it out, because they are immensely talented on the offensive line. They've got enough game breakers. Their defense is really, really good. And just like the overall size, speed, skill, talent level is just high enough that if you let them hang around, if you play down to them, then they can go out there and beat you. And so like, that's where, Cruton pays off. But bad vibes Beck. I think I might stand by that. I mean, the fact that he went out of the game and all of a sudden they had some juice, I don't know, man. Give me all your Stetson Bennett's, all your Gunnar Stocktons. Give me all of the under recruited. Was Stetson from Georgia or is he from Texas?
Stetson's from Georgia, I'm pretty
sure. From Georgia, yeah. I was like, give me all the in-state boys. Did you see like Tate Ratledge and Oscar Delp, like with their arm around him, like shouting out where he's from and everything else? Yeah, that's right. Blackshear, Georgia. That's right. Yeah, give me all the in-state guys. No more blue chippers from Jacksonville. Forget that. No, I want in-state under-recruited Georgia quarterbacks. That is your only path to success if you want to win a national championship. Get bad vibes back out of here.
Sure.
Can they actually win a playoff game with this guy? Because like they did tonight in theory, but he was 12 of 16 for 71 with bad fumble and a really bad pick. I mean,
and what was Carson Beck?
not much better, but
it's totally fair.
At
Fair,
least
very fair.
listen. You know what? Carson Beck's numbers would have been a hell of a lot better if Arian Smith caught the balls he hit him in the hands with, like he was catching the ones Gunnar Stockton hit him in the hands with. So maybe Carson just doesn't throw a catchable ball. Maybe he's like sweating on it and the ball's slick and it's hard to grip. I don't know, but
I don't
it
know.
was weird to me. Arian Smith caught everything Stockton threw his way. Dropped like 4 Beck passes.
Oh man.
He
I don't know.
He got over his receiving prop by 1 yard or half a yard, and he missed his long prop by, I believe, 1 yard. So yeah.
So he got screwed twice.
Yeah.
Love that. Hate that. So what about Texas?
We don't know.
Gunnar Stockton set the state record for touchdowns according to the tailgate. So that's awesome.
Well, his high school numbers were insane. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Texas is a phenomenal defensive team. And I have serious questions about them on offense. I think, I talked about it in text with you guys. I feel like they are very dependent on Sark scheming it. I just don't think they have, like, Golden had some nice plays today where he just kind of, made the catch and got the yak. But I just don't, I feel like they have a shortage of guys who just make stuff happen when nothing is there. Guys who could turn a little 3-yard out into a 60-yard touchdown. I just haven't seen enough of that against quality teams. I've seen them do it against crap teams. But when it gets to these kind of games, I just don't see it happening. And I feel like it's really hard to win a lot of these games that way.
I'm not that worried about Texas because I think they have the possibility to put it together. But do you guys really think they can do it back to back to back weekends? Because that's what it's going to require now because they're not going to get the bye. Mm-hmm. I would be pretty surprised.
Is Quinn Ewers a fair scapegoat?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's not. I mean,
yeah, I think so. He's not really playing at the level that you really need to play.
And we saw that Bond was in a walking boot. I mean, I know he's been banged up like all daggum season, kind of in and out of the lineup, but
he looked really good on the first couple of possessions. Like they were early in the game. They were attacking the outside, the perimeter with deep shots. He looked good. Then Georgia kind of, adjusted to it a bit, took it away, and then it just didn't look very good anymore. I don't know. It's just, I think Quinn was a very talented kid coming out of high school. I do wonder if that broken collarbone he suffered really changed the trajectory of his career, because I feel like he lost a lot of zip with that injury.
I agree. I mean, like, do you feel better about Georgia without Beck or about Texas? Because I feel better about Texas in that case.
I think that by the time they play again,
without Beck.
Yeah.
Okay.
They play in what, 2 weeks? Or no, 3 weeks. No, Texas plays in 2 weeks. I bet we see a hell of a lot more Arch Manning in that first round game.
I would agree.
Yeah.